Welcome to day 11 of 29 days of Melanated Excellence. Thank you so much for all of you guys that have been watching and supporting this beautiful thing that I started doing last year. I was inspired to do this in commemoration, in celebration of Black History Month. And so this is the second year that I'm doing this. Last year, I was talking about people that contributed to the ATRs, and this year, I'm talking about various different topics of the ATR, at least the ones that I'm associated with. So I have a background in Santeria, I have a background in Haitian Voodoo, I have a background in Espiritismo, and a background in Hoodoo, right? I don't infuse all those together, but I have knowledge about these four different paths, okay? So I only talk about the things that I've had experience with, whether it's my family, myself, you know what I mean. So today's topic for day 11 is going to be about the importance of the traditions, the preservation of the traditions, but at the same time, the importance of keeping the oral traditions going. So what do I mean by that? The importance of the preservation. So social media, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, whatever, all this stuff is wonderful. I love that they're trying to make witchcraft and spirituality mainstream. I think that's a wonderful thing. But I also see it as a double-edged sword because it also gives a platform for people that have very limited knowledge on certain things when it comes to a closed tradition. A closed tradition is a tradition, a cultural tradition, a spiritual tradition of a people that usually doesn't let anyone from the outside in. So it's like a secret society, like kind of like that. Wicca actually, in its origin, is considered a closed tradition. I know that there are solitary Wiccans and all that. I'm not going to get into that because I don't practice Wicca, so I'm not going to go into all of that. But there are those that say they're Wiccan, they're self-initiated, so on and so forth. Again, that's a tradition I don't practice, so I will not speak on that. Okay, you do have santeros who are initiated, and then you have different people that still work with the orishas and are not initiated, okay? Even though it is a community-based religion, not everyone who participates in the community rituals are initiates. There are a lot of people that are outsiders that are invited into the rituals, okay? Because maybe the person who owns the botanica or someone who has a centro or a spiritual center likes to open services for the public. Mary Laveau used to have public affairs where people were seers would see voodoo rituals that she would conduct. Not everyone in that crowd was initiated. They were spectators. So you do have people that aren't part of the traditions that kind of just, want to see things. So there are certain rituals that we do open to the public. Okay. There are also people that are studying. So no one gets initiated right away. You're not supposed to. Technically speaking and traditionally speaking, you're supposed to study under someone for a year and a day. And when you are going into your initiations and things, depending on your initiations, your rite of passage, whatever you want to call it, you actually live amongst your godparent, your godmother, or your godfather, okay? And you're kind of secluded from the world. So there is no phone calls, no text messaging, so on and so forth, because you are isolating yourself. You're going into what you would, if you're coming from a Christian background, it's kind of like a spiritual retreat. That kind of thing. So you're kind of separated. I've done retreats like that. I've done certain initiations where I'm like, oh, I'm going to go on a vacation, or I'm going to not be doing readings, or I'm gone because I've done things in order for my spiritual growth. I am continuously learning. I am continually trying to enhance and better my skills, better my connection, all that kind of stuff. Grow spiritually. So initiations, yes, they're important, especially when you are trying to mentor other people or speak on knowledge, right? You're supposed to know what the heck you're talking about. But you have people that come on social media and don't know what they're talking about. Now, there are exceptions to the rule. So I'm going to speak about Haitian Voodoo. Not everyone who practices Haitian Voodoo is initiated. Okay? You have people that are bokuls that are not. Okay? that you have different hierarchies and different levels of voodoo sant. People that practice voodoo but not aren't necessarily initiated. You have people that are within the santeria religious practice, but they're also not initiated. You know what I mean? So, but most of the time, if you're trying to work with the public, it is required of you to be initiated. If you're going to do certain forms of divination, rituals, all that kind of stuff, you're supposed to be initiated, or at least have grown up in the traditions, okay, and know what the hell you're talking about. Because if you don't know what you're doing, you can literally mess up somebody's life. So this is why preservation is important, because a lot of us know that even a little knowledge can be dangerous to some. So when people start giving little knowledges, that's why I'm very careful about what I share. I know the things that I have sworn to secrecy not to share. I try to keep those vows and those promises, because again, I'm coming from a closed tradition. We do make certain promises not to reveal certain things, because when you break those promises, when your godparents, okay, see that you're going around telling people stuff, guess what happens? They stop telling you stuff. And then guess what happens? The tradition dies. Okay? I'm the same way. Like, I'm very careful who I teach. When you take my classes, I literally tell you what we discuss here is for you and I. It's a religion of secrecy. It's a practice of secrecy. You're not supposed to be going out there just telling all the secrets. You know what I mean? That's how it works. It's an oral tradition. It is a tradition that's verbally passed down. Okay? That's why you see a lot of the older generation does not understand all this shrine videos that you see and altar tours, and they're like, what are you talking about? Like, we're supposed to work in secret. What are you doing? Or people that write books, like, that's really taboo and things of that nature. And then you also have to take it with a grain of salt, because they're only putting 30% of stuff and they're leaving out the other 70%. So you're only getting a limited knowledge of things. You're not having the vast knowledge that you would have if someone's actually teaching you one-on-one. Okay, so this is why preservation is important. We do a lot of things in secret because there's so much misappropriation going on, okay, and cultural appropriation and just misrepresentation and all these things, because people think, oh, I could just, show stuff. Somebody will be watching, then all of a sudden I watched 100 YouTube videos and I read a book. Now I'm an expert. I'm going to talk as an expert. I'm making a channel. I'm selling services, because a lot of people see it as a money-making thing. Oh, I'm going to buy a Oshun statue. I'm going to make up a story that I have a connection with her. And that person doesn't even know who Oshun is, right? So, again, this is why a lot of the older generation doesn't want to tell us things. But that's also not always a good thing, too. So it's kind of like, I try to walk in that balance of, I know what to keep secret. I always ask for the guidance of my elders and my own ancestral spirits and all of that. What am I, so when I make videos, I have all my videos laid out for the year. Like, I rarely do impromptu videos. Like, I usually know what videos I'm going to make, how many videos a month I'm going to make, that's so on and so forth. I started doing that like mostly last year, more organized in my video creation, because these topics will come to me as I'm taking a shower, or if I'm in ritual or something, about the different things I want to watch, or they might be inspired by other videos that I watch, that kind of thing. The reason why I like to share, but I'm also careful what I share, because again, I don't want to break my vows. And again, I know that certain information can be dangerous if put in the wrong hands. Also, people would try to sell themselves as experts, because there are people that literally watch people's channels to take information from creators and then mix and mash things and then make themselves sound like an expert. And their purpose is to literally con people. They're not even interested in having any type of relationship with the spirits. And let's just say most of those people have ended up in very bad situations. But this is why the oral traditions are important. This is why I do classes, because I know outside of my children, I want other people to be able to, if they're really called to this, practice, learn about it, pass it on to their children, so on and so forth. Because if we keep everything to ourselves, if we share nothing, what's going to end up happening is the religions will die, and then they become non-existent. While yes, it's a close tradition, it's also a community-based tradition, right? And if we're so afraid of sharing or so afraid of teaching, right? There's nothing wrong with being selective. But if you only are so fearful to the point where you close yourself off, remember, we're not going to be here forever. There's so many powerful elders that have literally been buried with their secrets. And if we all think like that, what's going to end up happening is those secrets are going to die with us. And then the people that are misrepresenting the religions, the people that are appropriating the religion, will become the dominant voices in that platform, right? So this is why I like to share and teach, and this is one of the reasons why I wanted to make 29 Days of Melanated Excellence about that various topics of the ATR, so you guys can get some understanding, so that when you start watching other people's videos, you're able to decipher the bullshit from the truth, make your own educated decisions when you guys are seeking out mentors, because I feel like mentors are so important. There's just nothing better than actually learning from an elder, okay? Now, we have to understand that when we're learning from an elder, we do have to pay for that person's time, right? And I always tell you, and this even goes for myself, when a spirit truly calls you, they're going to provide the finances and the opportunities for you to find the appropriate mentors. There's no need for you to go looking. Your mentor will find you. When I first started on this path, my mother started me on this path. Her godfather and my mother started having health issues. She kind of retired from her practice. I moved states away. You know, I was a military wife. And I was looking for that community. I have been deceived by false teachers. It's why I'm so passionate about the spreading of false information. I've been duped because I didn't listen to my intuition. I didn't listen to my guides. I was in such a rush to run and learn everything instead of just crawling and then walking and then running, because we get so excited that we want all the knowledge, you know? And I realized that the path that I was going on wasn't the right path. These weren't the right teachers. I left my Santeria house because of that. Then I finally got the right teacher, the right mentor to teach me about Santeria. I got the right mentor to teach me to do the rituals that I needed, right? So that I can be in service to people when it came to voodoo, Haitian voodoo. And I noticed that a lot of the stuff they were telling me was a lot of the stuff that my mom taught me about these practices and espiritimo and all this stuff and hoodoo. I have had mentors for all these things. People that have taught me, pass things down orally. I've made mistakes. I'm still growing from when I first started this channel. I'm humble enough to say I don't know every single thing, but I know enough that I could decipher the BS, the bullshit, excuse my language, but the bullshit on here. But you know what I mean? So I'm so grateful, because when I stopped looking, that's when these teachers came to me. I remember when the Loas, especially Danto, was coming to me so strongly. But I was like, I don't know. Like, I want to find the right person to teach and all of that. And I found my house, the house that I still do rituals with, the house that I'm still a part of in New York and all of that stuff. And it was through a client. It was through a psychic reading. I helped the person with a certain situation through the Orisha, which is something they wanted to learn about, okay, because they're Haitian, but they're also Dominican. And they wanted to connect to that Dominican part of their culture. And they connected me to that Haitian part of my culture that's been dormant for so long. And we mentored each other and we invested in each other. And I didn't even look for this teacher. And once this teacher came into my life, oh my goodness, did I feel the Lord. I remember the first ritual we did when Papa Legba was mounted, when the person opened me up to the Loa. And I felt the strength of the Loa. It's unspeakable. It's the same thing when the Orishas, were first introduced to me and were given to me, and I was crowned and I was given the Orisha, okay? When I was given my guides and espiritismo and my collares, okay, my elenques, okay? Those things matter. It's important to preserve. There's power in the traditions. We don't need to new age our stuff. We don't need to call things God and goddesses when they are not, which is going to be my next video. It's important to keep the traditions going. It's important to entrust somebody with the secrets. I'm not saying you need to scream from the rooftops and do YouTube videos and show everything. No, no, no. But I do believe in the power of those of us that are elders and all of that, teaching the next generation that genuinely has a calling. Because there's so many con artists that will scam people out of so much money that it makes some people turn away from the path completely. And that breaks my heart. I've heard so many horror stories of people receiving IFA through Skype or Zoom, which you're not really supposed to be doing that. All rituals are supposed to be done in person. It's why so many people, are you doing this and that? Until the pandemic is over, I can't take nobody on, because you can't come to me and I cannot come to you. These religions are practiced in person. When it comes to teaching is one thing, but actually initiating godchildren, when we get into all of that, that has to be done in person. And I have to be committed to you for the rest of my life. You're kind of like my own child now, because age doesn't matter. That's a big responsibility, because then I'm responsible for whatever you do. If you do something disrespectful with it, like, it's a big responsibility. So if I ever do that, because I'm not in that place right now, like, I'm going to be very picky about it. Okay. It's not about the money. It's not about the Benjamins. I will not have my spirits mad at me because I took on the wrong godchild or something like that. But that doesn't mean you can't teach. That doesn't mean you can't get somebody on the way. It doesn't mean I don't know other people that I'd be like, hey, you could, but the people that I know, most of them are old timers. Like, they're older, they're old school, and they're also very picky about. That's the thing. My mentors are older people. So like a lot of old school people, they're very selective on who they take on. So, and we have to respect that, but at the same time, I do like the idea of the elders teaching the newer generation and things like that. Of course, being picky, because again, you can't just teach any random person. But if someone really has the asha and the calling, I think that's a beautiful thing, right? Because if not, they're going to turn to YouTube and they're going to get a bunch of misinformation. And next thing you know, they're going to be converting to other religions because something really bad happened, because they invoked a whole like dark energy that wasn't even those spirits. So yeah. All right. So enough of this video. Much love, much light, much blessings. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys. And until the next video. Bye.